Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have decided to do a video about how to plan a wedding, maybe how to plan one on a budget. I feel like I cut a lot of corners and saved a lot of money in certain places when I was planning my wedding, so I thought it would be good to share with you guys. I have a feeling that this might be a little bit long and rambly, so I'm going to kind of combine it with a get ready with me and do my makeup as I'm doing this video. I will list in the description box all the makeup products that I use, but I won't really elaborate on them as I'm going through. This will really just mainly be on wedding planning, how to save money, kind of things I wish I did differently, things I did and I was really glad that I did it that way. Without further ado, we're gonna jump straight to the video. Okay, so before I kind of just start talking at you guys, I just already have foundation all over my hair. Before I just start talking at you guys, I want you to know that planning a wedding is very personal and different people have different priorities, and you might have things that you're not willing to compromise on. Like, this is really about you and your wedding and what you and your fiance want, and how to plan that is totally up to you. And things that I prioritize might not be what you prioritized, and you know, you feel free to prioritize whatever is important to you. So the most important thing, in my opinion, to remember when you're planning your wedding is, sorry, this is like clicking really loudly, is that you have to remember to just be patient, and being patient will save you a lot of money. It will save you a lot of stress. My first money saving tip is to be patient after you get engaged. Like, I feel like a lot of people get engaged and they immediately set a date, and it might be like 8 months away, and then they're just like really frantic and planning their whole wedding. We probably had like close to 18 months between when we got engaged and when we got married, and we really appreciated having that extra time because it just gave us a lot of time to breathe, a lot of time to explore options and stuff like that. So you want to also be really flexible depending on which season you want your wedding, especially because there's like an off season for most venues and they'll charge you a lot less money if you get married kind of in the winter or early spring months. And also you want to be able to be flexible on which day of the week. So for a lot of venues, Fridays and Sundays actually cost less to have a wedding than Saturdays. And a really easy way to save money when you're booking your venue is to have your ceremony and reception in the same place. So for me, when I was planning my wedding, I did it in a park, and when I rented that place out for the reception, if I combined my ceremony with it during that day, it was only going to be like another $100 or $150, and so I did not have to like rent two different venues. As you're booking like anything at all, like make sure you read the contract, because some places can be like really sneaky. Like when you're doing food, drinks, venue, whatever, like make sure you actually read the contracts in full to see what is included and what is not, so that you're not really surprised later if something isn't included and you find out you have to shell out a bunch of money. So for me, like chair rentals for the outdoor ceremony was not included in my rental, and so knowing that going into it really helped because I wasn't surprised by, you know, having to shell out another $600 for chairs later. Another plus to having your wedding and your ceremony in the same place, sorry, your ceremony and your reception in the same place, is that you don't have to deal with like an exit method. So you don't have to deal with like an exit limo or mode of transportation, like whatever. So right off the bat, a really easy way for you to save money is to cut down on the number of people that you invite. And I know this is like a really touchy subject for a lot of people if you have like really big families. When you start factoring in food and alcohol, for every extra person you invite, like it's going to be another $100 or $200 because of, you know, everything, like needing to get a bigger venue, needing to order more food, needing to order more alcohol. Like, that's just the fastest way for you to cut down in price, is just to cut down on head count. So after you book your venue, it's very natural for you to want to look for a photographer next, because photographers book up really early. And how you can save money by booking a photographer is try to find one a little bit earlier in their career. So like for me, my photographer had really only been professionally doing weddings for less than 5 years when we booked her, and you know, you want to make sure that your photographer, of course, has like the style that you like, but because we were booking so far in advance, like 18 months, if they were a little bit newer, like you just have to keep in mind that they're going to have so many weddings before yours happens. Like mine probably shot 50 weddings between when we booked her and our actual wedding. And so for newer photographers, that's a lot of time for them to develop, and you can book them at like a really cheap price up front, and they can gain all that experience and still deliver really good pictures for you at your wedding. Not having a second shooter is going to also cut down on a cost, but that's, I don't know, for me, I was not willing to give up a second shooter, so that was like a not negotiable for me. Additionally, to save on pictures, see if your photographer will include engagement pictures at no charge. A lot of photographers do that as part of their wedding budget. So another place that for people, it's costing them a lot of money when they're planning weddings is food and beverage. One of the biggest questions for food is whether you want to do plated or buffet. And as you're exploring menus online, plated is going to look more expensive than buffet. Most places that cater, if you're doing a buffet, they will actually make you order like 1.5 times the number of guests that you have. So like if you have 100 guests, they might make you order 150 people's worth of food. And so because during a buffet, everybody kind of they take more or they go back for seconds. And so in order to avoid running out of food, most catering places will just say, hey, you just have to order more. And so for us, the plated actually came out to be cheaper because you don't have to order as much extra food. Also, back to reading contracts, make sure you read the contracts to see if gratuity is included. Gratuity can add up really fast when you're serving that many people at like 50 bucks a plate. Also, see if they let you take any leftover food home. So my vendor let me take any leftover food home, which meant if somebody didn't show up, their entree didn't just go to waste. Like we got to take it home, and we were just so exhausted after our wedding that we didn't want to cook anyway. So alcohol is a huge topic, and I feel like this is where a lot of the cost comes from, depending on your family and what you think is important. But make sure you book a venue that allows alcohol for one, and there are venues out there that will let you bring your own alcohol, and that's definitely the #1 way to save money. Ours did not, so we had to get a licensed caterer. And don't feel like you have to book the beverage service at the place that you're doing food, because for us it didn't come out cheaper. It was actually more expensive for us to do that. You can rack up alcohol costs really fast if you do open bar all night. Like if you do that, it will literally cost you like $10,000 to do just alcohol, depending on how many people you have, etc. So for us, we decided not to do open bar because my side of the family didn't really drink, and for most places that do service open bar style, they will actually make you pay for everybody that's over the age of 21, regardless of if they drink or not. Like they don't have like this wristband system. And so because only about half of our like total guest count was going to drink, we didn't feel like an open bar would be worth our money. So some people will do a combination of hosted and cash bar. Some people will do hosted for X amount of hours and then it's cash bar after that. That's totally up to you. For us, if you have a bar service that will do kegs, that is a really economical way for you to serve beer, because it's so much more expensive if you want everything kind of in bottles or cans. So for us, we did beer and then gin with a mixer for our hosted drinks. So onto decor. Can I just stress that nobody really cares what your centerpieces look like? Like I know when you start planning your wedding, that's often like the first thing people do is decide on a theme, decide on their centerpieces, but I don't know, like I've never heard somebody come back from a wedding and go, oh my gosh, their centerpieces were so adorable, they was like the best thing ever. Like people really just don't care about your centerpieces. And for that, you know, make sure you explore consignment stores, explore dollar stores to see what they have. And for decor, if you're set on having certain things, so for us, we wanted icicle lights, those like Christmas icicle lights around our venue. And just keep in mind when those things go on sale. So we bought our icicle lights at Home Depot, I think, right after Christmas, and they were like $3 a box. Join those like Facebook groups for people that are swapping things and selling things after their wedding, because so many people are getting married every week and they're just looking to recoup some of their costs and get rid of some of the stuff they have. So don't underestimate buying things used. So onto flowers. Personally, and I know a lot of people feel strongly about one way or the other, I did not care about having real flowers versus fake flowers. And one is not necessarily cheaper than the other. Like don't think because it's fake it's cheaper. Like it's really not, depending on where you go and how you do it. And so my tip there to save money is be flexible with the type of flower. So I understand that you have picked your color scheme for the day, and you know, for us we wanted purple flowers, but we didn't really care about like what type of flowers they had to be. For me, I just told my florist, yep, I just wanted a purple bouquet, and you know, my colors are purple and gray, and she was gonna have, you know, do whatever she wanted so that she could keep the cost down. And giving your florist that degree of freedom will really help, because they know what kind of flowers they can get for cheap, and they can really help you out with that. So as you're shopping for your dress too, make sure that you go to a lot of places and you try on a lot of dresses. I see so many girls buy a dress at the first place that they go and they love it, and then just like 2 months later they decide they want something else. Most wedding dress places will not let you return your dress. Like, no matter what they tell you, they're going to make you jump through hoops if you want to return your dress or if you want to cancel your order. So make sure that you really love it, because it's really hard to sell a dress. So a lot of you might be thinking like, oh, well, I'm gonna do some DIY stuff for my wedding and, you know, we're gonna save a lot of money. For me, planning your wedding is already so busy. Like, make sure that you price stuff out and do DIY projects for things that will get you the most bang for your buck. So if you have to put in a bunch of hours doing something DIY, make sure that you do it for something that would otherwise cost you a lot of money. So for me, I wasn't super picky on my desserts. I didn't really care like what they were gonna be. So I actually baked my own cup. Well, I shouldn't say I like enlisted my whole female side of the wedding party to help me bake cupcakes for my day, and my mother-in-law baked cookies, God bless her heart. And that really saved on the cost, because when you're getting cupcakes or when you're getting cake for your wedding, it can cost $3 or $4 per person. It costed me under $100 to bake a ton of cupcakes, enough for 120 people, and we still had a ton of it left. So that's kind of where I decided to do my DIY. Your wedding is going to be so busy. When you're planning, you're going to be so busy. So don't think, oh, I'm just going to do everything by myself, like everything DIY, because you're not going to have the time for it and it's going to stress you out. And so I would say, like, just pick a couple of things that you want to do DIY on and just hire people for the rest of it, because you don't want to stress yourself out before your big day. So I know I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but I want to talk about save the dates and invites and programs and all that little paperwork stuff that you have to do for your wedding. If you don't have a lot of people flying in for your wedding, I would say it's probably safe to skip save the dates. So that's what we did. Most of our family was already in state, and the few people that were flying in were either in our wedding party or we just made sure that they knew when our wedding was ahead of time. And saving that round of printing can save you quite a bit of money. And check out Vistaprint for all of your printing needs. Like, people usually think, oh, like Shutterfly is like what they think about when they want to print stuff, but Shutterfly is super expensive. It is so expensive to print there, and I agree, like, their quality is really good, but Vistaprint, you can print there for like literally a fraction of the cost, and there's always coupon codes. Check them out and use them instead. They print super fast, and literally when I was ordering, I would have my stuff like in a week after I order it, which was really fast and really convenient for us. If you skip paper RSVPs, that will save you a ton of money, because it will save you money on stamps because you do not have to pre-stamp those envelopes. It will save you money in printing, save you money in mailing them if they're like over a certain weight. Just do RSVPs online is what we did, and it was really easy for people to do, and we just created a free website. I think we did ours through The Knot, but I know Wedding Wire has a good one too, and that just makes it really easy for people to do that. Okay, so I went ahead and did my eyebrows, my eyeliner, and my lashes real quick, because I don't feel like I could do any of those things and talk at the same time, so I hope you guys don't mind. Okay, so another way to save money at your wedding is to make sure that your guests don't have too much time between your ceremony and your reception to consume a bunch of alcohol that you're hosting. You want to make sure, and it would help make the day flow smoother, I think, if you did your pictures before the actual ceremony. And I know for some people they really want their first look to happen during the ceremony, but if you are okay with doing the first look before that, I would say definitely do pictures beforehand, because then you don't need your cocktail hour to be quite as long. And also, if you cry your makeup off during the ceremony, it won't matter because you already have your pictures done. And speaking of makeup, this is one thing I was glad I did, is I actually did my own makeup for the wedding. And I know people are really split on this. Like, if you already know how to do makeup and you like the way you do your makeup, I would say go ahead and do your own makeup for your wedding. That is a way for you to save money. A lot of makeup artists are very expensive. Granted, they do a good job, and there are some makeup artists out there that are so phenomenal, and you just want to make sure that if you do book a makeup artist, that you do a trial before your wedding so that you know and they know exactly how you want to look on your wedding day, and there's none of that like drama on the day of. So additionally, it's going to make you seem like you're spending not as much money at one time, but I would really recommend delaying your honeymoon and don't go right after your wedding. Like for us, that's what we did. We waited a couple months before going on our honeymoon, and we thought it was like the best decision we've made ever. Because if you want to go on your honeymoon right after your wedding, you have to keep in mind that you literally have to plan your wedding and your honeymoon at the same time. And that's really stressful. And for some people, they don't have that many vacation days to spend all at one time. And being flexible on when you book your honeymoon will also really help you save. This highlighter is outrageous. This is the first time I'm using it. But it will actually help you save money if you are flexible on booking your honeymoon, because then you can go during a different season that might be cheaper for wherever you're going to, and you can plan it, you know, afterwards when you are not so stressed out. And it kind of just gives you time to do your thank you cards and stuff like that after the wedding. So yeah, I just popped on lip color real quick. That might be everything I did to kind of cut corners and save money on my wedding. And I just have to say that if you are still around, I'm sure this video is like super long, the longest video I've ever had, but I just want to say, like, please plan it true to yourself. Like, it is your wedding at the end of the day. If you feel strongly about one thing, and, you know, even if your family doesn't agree or your wedding party doesn't agree, like, do what makes you happy. Like, this is between you and your fiance. I really hope wedding planning goes well for you. It's a very stressful time, I know. If you have any other questions, please feel free to ask. Like, leave it down below in the comments and I'll try to help the best I can. Obviously, I'm not like a wedding planner, but having gone through my own wedding, having done DIY on a couple of things, having, you know, gone through that whole shebang, like, I feel like there were a lot of things that I wish I would have known. And lastly, I just want to say that if you don't have a day of wedding planner, make sure that you communicate very clearly to your wedding party who should arrive when, what they should be bringing, and what they're responsible for during the day. And even the most mundane tasks, like, assign that to somebody before the day of. Like, we forgot to light our candles on everybody's tables because I forgot to assign that to somebody, and I didn't even realize until we were like packing up all the centerpieces to leave. Like, it was a really small thing, but you just want to make sure that in order to reduce your stress level and in order to reduce like the number of things that you have to pick up last minute, assign everything to somebody in your party and don't give yourself a bunch of things to do the day of, because it's your big day. You just want to relax and enjoy it. So that is it for me, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me a like button and hit the subscribe button here before you go, and I hope to see you at my next video. Thanks guys so much for watching. Bye!